CIGTV News Update, I'm April Cummings in for Donna Bush. The Office of the Premier says there is no cause for what it described as an unmerited attack on the Cayman Islands by a member of the United Kingdom National Crime Agency. Radio Cayman's Dion Anglin has the details.
The BBC headline reads, UK frustrated by Cayman Islands' silence on money laundering. One of several media outlets internationally citing comments from Mr. Daniel Toon, Director of Prosperity for Economic Crime and Cybercrime for the National Crime Agency. In one report, the NCA says it was asking for information we didn't get, referring to investigations into the ownership of certain companies, and says that the Cayman government is, quote, entirely aware of the UK concerns. The Premier's office says there is absolutely no merit to Mr. Toon's allegation, describing the complaint as a gross misrepresentation of a single situation and no basis on which to accuse the Cayman Islands of being uncooperative. Citing a letter from NCA thanking the Cayman Islands for its continuing and excellent support in relation to an international high-profile investigation into money laundering, the Office of the Premier expressed surprise at the criticism, noting there has only been one case in May of 2018 in which a legal issue affected Cayman's response time to a NCA request. That issue was resolved and the information was provided to the NCA. Government says the Cayman Islands will continue to cooperate and support the NCA and all other law enforcement agencies and tax authorities to combat money laundering, tax evasion, and all other forms of crime. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
Government says the Cayman Islands will continue to cooperate and support the NCA and all other law enforcement agencies and tax authorities to combat money laundering, tax evasion, and all other forms of crime. A star-studded event brings together celebrities of the scuba diving community from around the world.
Since our islands are counted among the most prominent dive destinations of the world, it is therefore fitting that the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame proudly regards the Cayman Islands as its home.
Tourism Minister the Honorable Moses Kirkconnell addressed attendees at the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame induction last week.
We're here to honor people who have given so much and asked for so little in return. So thank you all for that. The Cayman Islands are recognized as the birthplace of the Caribbean recreational diving, a worldwide historic event that is attributed to Mr. Bob Soto, who established the Caribbean's first dive operation here in Grand Cayman in 1957.
Minister Kirkconnell took the opportunity to highlight some of the major events in scuba diving history in the Cayman Islands, but also focused on the relationship between government and industry.
By working together, many significant milestones have been accomplished. We can certainly think of the sinking of the Kittiwake, the sinking of the KP Tibbets and Cayman Brac, and installation of dive moorings across the three islands that give us all a different dive each day.
Several civil servants are among the finalists for this year's Young Caymanian Leadership Award. The 5 finalists were announced after an in-depth review of the nominations put forward this year by the community. The list includes Casey Mobley, a senior probation officer at the Department of Community Rehabilitation, and Wilbur Welcome, a senior policy analyst in the Ministry of Financial Services. The other finalists are Kimberly Conley, Samuel Young, and Stacy Scott. The recipient of the Young Caymanian Leadership Award will be revealed on November 10, 2018 at a gala event at the Kimpton Seafire, which will also be live streamed on Facebook. You can find out more information at youngcaymanianleaders.ky. As always, if you missed today's news update, you can get all the details on our Facebook and YouTube pages. And of course, don't forget to tune in to Radio Cayman's For the Record and Talk Today shows.
The Esterly Tibbets Highway 3-lane roundabout is ready for drivers. It's time to make sure you know how to use it. First, know which exit you need to take. Pay attention to lane arrows and signs. Make sure you use your signal to change lanes or exit the roundabout. To turn left, you always approach in the left-hand lane and indicate left. To drive straight ahead, you need to be looking out for signs and road markings indicating which lane to use. get in one of the lanes marked with a straight-through arrow. If turning right, you must use the right-hand lane and indicate accordingly. To use the roundabout safely, remember these 3 tips. Know your exit, pick your lane, and signal to make your turn.
Did you know your mailing address details on your land register must be up to date in order to receive notices on new development which may impact you? Visit Lands and Survey Department to check your mailing address is correct. Did you know that walls, fences located along the road require planning permission no matter the height? You should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that fences and walls within the high water setback require planning permission no matter the height? You should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that a trellis structure requires planning permission? You should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that a deck more than 6 inches above finished grade requires planning permission? Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know that planning permission is required for a sign? Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know you should check with the department before leasing a property or unit for a business as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know that planning permission is required for a shed? Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required? Did you know planning permission is required to clear land by mechanical means? You should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required. Did you know that planning permission is required for an addition, alteration, or any material change to your house? The 10% rule no longer exists. Did you know you should check with the department as a planning and permit application may be required?